Can I tell you a story? I'm going to pretend that you're saying, yes, of course you can. I would love for you to tell me a story. So, get really comfortable. That's the next step. And while you are getting really comfortable, I will tell you that this podcast and all of these stories are supported by patrons. So if you enjoy them and you would like to give something back and become a patron too, you can do that on patreon.com/Can I Tell You a Story. patreon.com/Can I Tell You a Story. You will receive bonus stories. There are many waiting there already for you. A new one is added every month, and you'll get other goodies as well, which you can read about on the site. And I hope now that you have followed directions and you are very comfortable, it's time for a story. Maude and Elsie sit at a bus stop across the road from a low yellow brick building with neat, boring flower beds out the front and a low yellow brick fence with a sign on it saying halfway to heaven. Poor taste, really, says Maude. It is that, says Elsie. What if we're going to the other place? Weather's probably better, says Maude. Should have called it waiting to die, says Elsie. More accurate, says Maude. It's important to be accurate, says Elsie. Maude fishes in her handbag for the packet of butterscotch sweets that's a fixture in all of her bags and coat pockets, and offers one to Elsie, who accepts. They can see their reflections distorted in the glass doors across the way. Every now and then one of the interchangeable Jessicas that live behind the reception desk looks over to see if they're still there. They are. They've been sitting there for hours, got off the return bus from town that morning, but neither of them want to feel the glass doors closing behind them, and so they haven't gone in. They look odd, sitting together. Maude is tall and angular, even with the beginnings of a stoop, her sensible boots solid on the ground in front of her. Elsie is soft, like an unbaked bun, and she swings her feet like a child. She likes the way her skirt swishes under her green apron, with one practical pocket in the front. Today, while Maude's pockets all hold butterscotch, Elsie's pocket holds hope. They work very hard, says Maude, after an interchangeable Jessica glances over to check on them again. They do, says Elsie, swinging her feet. We should be grateful. But we're not. No. In our defence, it's hard to be grateful for something you don't want. That's true. Maude looks up at the puffs of cloud in the deep blue sky. One of them looks like a rabbit. The wind takes it and turns it back into a cloud. Elsie pats her apron pocket. When we win, she says, I'm going to buy a castle on a crag. It's going to have 400 steps, steep ones, and I'll have a sedan chair with lots of cushions and people to carry me up and down. I'm going to have a palace in a forest, says Maude, with a drawbridge and a moat, full of crocodiles and piranhas, and I'll have a flying fox put in from your castle so you can zip down for afternoon tea. It's going to have a minuet, the castle. You'll have a ballroom then, says Elsie. What? In the tower? Oh, a minaret? Yeah, a minuet, one of them tall skinny ones. It'll have a spiral staircase. The donkey will keep climbing it and getting stuck at the top. I'll have a donkey, you know. Mountain goats too, but they'll climb up the outside. They'll probably like the view. Yeah, trees, mostly, for as far as the eye can see. Ocean over there somewhere. Maude waves a hand in no particular direction. From where they sit at the bus stop, there's not a tree to be seen. The cloud turns into a giraffe whose neck keeps getting longer. What day is it? Asks Maude. Tuesday, says Elsie. Why? Fruit salad and custard for dessert then, says Maude. Oh, says Elsie. Can't abide custard. No, says Maude. Horrible stuff. When we win, says Elsie, I'm going to buy a cook. She'll be round and jolly, and she'll make wicked scones, so light they float above the basket she serves them in like little clouds. And there'll be trifle for dessert on Tuesdays, the good sort, with glacé cherries and lots of brandy in it, and clotted cream on top. I'm going to have a butler, says Maude. He's going to be really tall, with tall heels on his shoes to make him even taller, and a big nose so he can look down it at everyone, and he'll tell everyone who knocks at the door that I'm not at home to them, even though I'll probably be home all the time. Except to you. I'll be home when you come to call. Well, unless I'm calling on you. Imagine having one of those here, says Elsie. When Nurse Watson comes to give you your pills, he can loom over her and say, "The lady is not at home, madame," and she'll get in an awful tiz. Think you've escaped out the window, she will. She'll go round and look, says Maude, and there I'll be, waving at her through the glass, in my room the whole time. Then I'll have the butler close the drapes, to keep out the vulgar gaze, don't you know. Elsie cackles and kicks her feet. Interchangeable Jessica glances over and waves at them through the glass. Maude lifts an imaginary hat. The giraffe's head leaves its body and turns into an old-fashioned rotary telephone. Its body becomes a gingerbread man with one leg longer than the other. "What do you suppose they're doing in there?" asks Elsie. "What time is it?" asks Maude, squinting at the sun. "Probably jigsaws and drooling on themselves." "Is that unkind? I can't tell," says Elsie. "Accurate, though," says Maude. "It's important to be accurate." "When we win," says Elsie, "I'm going to buy a cloth of gold napkin to wipe up my drool if I feel like drooling on myself." "Do you think you will?" asks Maude. "Feel like drooling on yourself?" "Haven't the foggiest," said Elsie. "Never been rich before, have I?" "It's never too late to start, though, is it?" says Maude. "That's right," says Elsie, patting her apron pocket. "Good thing we're out here practicing. Otherwise we'll be completely lost when we win." "Yes," says Maude. "Lucky us." Interchangeable Jessica sticks her head around the glass door. "Time for afternoon tea, ladies," she calls across the street. "Mint slice biscuits and fruit cake. Mind yourselves crossing the road." "What do you think, Elsie? One last afternoon tea?" says Maude. "Before we win?" "One last afternoon tea," says Elsie. "Tomorrow I'll send someone with a card with gold all round the edges to your butler inviting you to the castle. I'll send my chair too, so you don't have to climb all the stairs. Your knees wouldn't like it." "Too kind," says Maude. They cross the road, minding themselves. The cloud has gone, and the sky is completely blue. The glass doors of Halfway to Heaven close behind them. Thanks for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this story about Maude and Elsie, and if you did and you'd like more stories, perhaps you'd like to become a patron. Patrons receive bonus stories, and there are many of them waiting there on the site for you, and other things which you can read about at patreon.com/Can I Tell You a Story. patreon.com/Can I Tell You a Story. Until next time, take some time to practice being really rich.